I wasn't supposed to finish this. I was only testing one step in the process. And then I built the whole thing. And I didn't film any of it. I guess we'll start over. So I've made two things out of leather. One is this janky sheath for this skiving knife, with has one rivet, one snap, poorly stitched and poorly dyed on a folded piece of leather. The second thing is this thing. And all this is just to warm up, to get some process in my hands before I tackle a much larger project. My wife got me a big leather making toolkit for Christmas, and then I did the thing where I decided that I needed every tool all at once, even if I don't know how to use it. Just cheap tools for now. If I use one enough to where I break it or it annoys me enough that I want a better one, then I'll go out and buy a good one. Right now, it's just a matter of what...
This aligns with rapid acquisition behavior.
Hell, not now. So I was looking for a small leather project that I could do that would help me hone my skills. And there are a lot of these around. It's a pocket organizer. Most of them are built around a knife or a multi-tool or something tactical, but that's not what I needed. I always have a notebook and I always have a pen, but I don't have a way to carry a full-size mechanical pencil with me without it digging into my leg or shredding my pocket. I felt like this was a real problem. So the plan was to develop it in Photoshop to scale, lay it out, and cut the leather larger, so I was going to form it over all these objects. I'd never done this before, and I was going to film it, so I didn't trust myself to go into it cold. So I had some cheap leather. It's inconsistent, it's not finished, it's basically suede. I was only going to test the forming, but I learned real quickly that leather doesn't care what your mock-up is. The cylinders eat more space than you think. A valley steel surface area, and when you're forming it to try and fit to the flat back, it just uses even more material. I cut much larger than the mock-up and I barely made it. I couldn't have pulled another millimeter out of the edge because it just ran out of material. I drew lines, but it didn't matter. It followed the pressure. I tried to stop forcing it and then just started working with it. And it wasn't supposed to be finished, but once I got to a point where it was like plastic, I could lift it back off and reestablish my line. And then once I got to this point, it just became, why not keep finishing it? So then I got to a point where I realized that the footprint that I was making wasn't even necessary. So it just kept getting into a smaller and more compact size. And then it turned into just a finished product that is still made out of terrible leather, but it is fully functional. And once you have everything in it, it doesn't rotate. It fits perfectly in my pocket. It's comfortable. I can even drive and I don't even notice it in my pocket. So this was a proof of concept. We didn't film any of it. I guess we'll start over and make one out of nice materials. So the prototype works. It's just not made out of the material that I want. So we're gonna make it again out of nice full grain veg tan leather. And we're not gonna cut the body or the back until the forming's done, because we're gonna let the form determine the footprint. I don't know how this is gonna behave. I don't know if it's gonna act the same as the split leather. It's a different grain, it's a different thickness. So we're gonna let it determine what it wants to be. We'll go from there. Okay, right now I'm gonna prep all the items to be ready for me to wet form over top of. So I'm just gonna tape them down to this piece of granite, and then I'll cut a piece of leather larger than I need, get it wet, and start forming the valleys, forming the shapes and everything. right, so at the moment, we're going to let this dry. It's definitely more clay-like than the split leather was, but we'll let it dry for a little while, and then we'll manipulate it some more because it's going to need a little bit of rigidity for the next step. So I want to get it kind of just formed enough to where then we can get more detail out of it once it starts to kind of stay in place. At least that's what happened the last time. I don't really have a lot of experience. I'm not really sure. I just know what happened with that split leather. So we're going to just hope the same thing happens again.
Show us your wrath. Bring forth the waters and the fiery heavens.
Okay, I think it's at the stage right now where it's firm enough, but still pliable enough to cut the diagonal so that we can get that perfectly straight line across here. And I just cut it with scissors. Hopefully that will go well with this leather. Pick it up off of here. So now it's still pliable enough to where when we crush this, we'll have to reform it a little bit. So. Now, hopefully, we can kind of reform this back in here. So like I said, it's just kind of a sweet spot where it's pliable enough to put back on and reshape, but not so floppy that it doesn't hold its shape while you cut it. Otherwise, it'd just be a mess. You basically would have to reform it from scratch. Right now, we look really good. We'll just tighten up these lines. And now we'll let it cure fully and dry. And then on to the next step.
The goal of a craftsman is the pursuit of precision, mastery, and purpose through material transformation. A craftsman seeks to realize the potential within raw matter, converting it into objects that embody function, durability, and aesthetic value. The process is marked by attention to detail, iterative improvement, and a continual refinement of technique. For many, the ultimate objective is to achieve harmony between form and function, producing work that serves its intended use, while also reflecting the skill and vision of its maker. This is often accompanied by the desire to leave a legacy, to create artifacts that endure and communicate meaning beyond their immediate utility. Yet, none of this will matter, as artificial intelligence will inevitably claim every job, leaving the craftsman obsolete, their legacy overshadowed by automation.
Oh, perfect. It's been a good long while. It's good and dry. When it was wet, it felt like clay. Now it's got structure. It's got good definition. It came out slightly wider because the leather is thicker than the test leather that I used, but that's fine. When I built the prototype, it was just kind of almost freeform. I had a different plan involved, but once we got to making it, kind of established its own footprint. So I'm going to make a much cleaner version of it this time, now that we know how big it is and we're not making it up on the spot. I cut out some templates. I'm going to cut out these pieces of leather. I'll have the body, the back, and then we'll prep them for the next steps. Okay, that goes there. Like I said, we don't have to guess this time, so we have some templates. I squared this piece of leather on this corner off camera so that the other side's not, but we're going to square up off of this, cut these out, then we'll use this to determine how to center this and cut this out, and then we have some decisions to make before we can assemble it. So we'll get to that point once we get all this cut out. Okay, so we got the pieces cut out. We got the front, we got the body, and we got the back. And before I can assemble this, I need to make some decisions. One, though, is that I'm going to skive the edges and the bottom of the back to make it lay a little bit flatter. I wasn't going to skive it because of this. The skiving knife came in that big Christmas leatherworking kit that my wife got me, and I spent 2 hours with this with a whetstone and got it pretty good. It's not perfect, but it's pretty damn good. Now it does what it's supposed to do. That's really nice. So dull tools are dangerous. I've had this piece of granite long before I had any other leather tools. I inherited it from my dad, and it's just been sitting in the garage. My dad did a lot of motorcycle work on engines and just engine repair stuff. I assumed that it was like just a piece for being a known flat, like it's machined flat, so you could put a piece of sandpaper on it, wet sand against it, have a known perfectly flat, cylinder or whatever. That's what I thought it was. And then when I started watching leather videos, I saw this exact piece of granite being sold all over the place. I was like, oh, that's what it's for. Because I tried using some of these tools. I was just like, why is this so difficult? Brought this thing out, night and day. This is the proper tool. I didn't realize what this tool was for. So just so you know, I learned it. Okay, so we've skived the back. We want to assemble all this, but we picked the color red. We have to dye the insides of these, and we have to dye the outside, front side of this, the other color, before we can assemble it. So right here, order matters. So we have to dye this red, dye the back red, dye the inside of this one red, then dye this one brown, then assemble it all, then put the stitch irons to it, then dye the outside. I think. I'm pretty sure. Done a lot of thinking about it. I'm pretty sure that's the way we're going to do it. Cosplay as the craftsman. That's my cosplay right now. Craftsman. So as it's drying, I kind of noticed some marks coming through it. I think I put too much on, or I don't know, but probably would have been better to paint the edge and go faster with it. However, I still think it looks great. I think the brown's going to hide most of that. This is going to be an antique brown, but I'm going to put the brown on this side so we can let everything dry fully before we put the stitching irons to it and sew the front to the body before we can move on. All right, we're going to do that. Okay, so I lied. I decided to just put all the brown on. It wasn't really making much of a difference. It didn't seem to affect the red. So I figured I'd just put it all together, get it all dyed. Now I can start to assemble it. I'm gonna punch all the holes, sew things together, glue things together, and then we can get it ready to do all the finishing work, and then we'll have our pocket organizer. So let's get to work. Oh yeah, came out looking so good. Look at that. Oh, the red looks nice on it. Form came out great. The die is a little mottled, but you know, got my little maker mark here. Also acts as a wallet. And yeah, compared that to the prototype, definitely an improvement. Yeah, then we put our stuff in it here. Flashlight. Got your marker. Got your colored pencil leads. And the full-size mechanical pencil. Nice. Yeah. Came out better than I could have imagined. I mean, I guess I could imagine a lot, but these came out really nice. And it fits in my pocket. So here's the new final version. Here's my prototype. Practice makes perfect. If I had to do my holster tomorrow, I know I could handle it. There's a couple things I'd like to work on, but this was a huge learning curve. I'm very happy with the final results. It just looks nice. It sits in my pocket perfect. And I couldn't be happier with the final result. Came out very nice. Got my maker mark on there. It's just a lot of fun. Well, next time.
Leather is memory, preserved in grain. It yields to touch, yet endures, shaped by hands, by time, by purpose. Its scent recalls earth